welcome back to the channel. What I'm doing today is organising all these flies. I have got absolutely hundreds of them. Thank you very, very much to Trout Flies UK and IJW for so far supplying me with all of these. Much appreciated. But first, I need to get all of these flies in this fly box. So it was actually Chelsea's idea, very good idea. She says, while I'm doing this, I should maybe give you a bit of an idea of how to fish each fly, when you would fish them, how to fish them, stuff such as that, just a bit of info really. I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. So we'll set off with lures, I think. Probably the more common type of fly you'd fish. So this is a blueflash damsel. It's used for just general retrieving, normally a jerky retrieve. Very, very popular fly, highly used right across the UK in all times of year. The next lure we've got is the cat's whisker. Now, RJW made me these himself. Lovely flash in the body. He asked me how I like them, and I do like them with the wing as well as the tail, and a lovely heavy gold bead head. Now, the last time I went to Greenhouse Town, cat's whiskers were very popular. They're very good if the water's a bit murky, something you want to stand out, especially if the sun shines bright with a bit of tinseling, catches it great. Now these flies, these cat's whiskers are a bit different. These are from Trout Flies UK. And these are, if you can see that, tungsten headed. Now that just means they sink a bit quicker. Very similar fly to what I got from RJW, just a different body and obviously the tungsten head. So if I'm finding the fish are feeding a little bit further down in the water, I'll put the tungsten head fly on and they'll get down a bit quicker. The screaming reels anymore because they're very frustrating. Now, the giant elephant in the room is this pile of chamois worms. These ones are supposed to be classed as a chamois worm. This is more tinsel and soft. These are made by RJW. Again, brilliant fly. Sink great, and the movement of the body in the water, fantastic. These are normally fished under a bung. You can slow retrieve them, but you're probably better under a bung. And I tell you what, you will struggle to find a better fly in really cloudy water than a chamois worm or worm of this sort. You will really struggle to find a better fly that attracts the fish, sits in the water column perfectly, natural feeding. These are lethal, especially around winter time. They come into their own. Summertime, you sometimes struggle to get on them, but wintertime, I think it was back in January I had, it was about 24 or 25 fish in one session. The water was black, and yeah, they came through and saved the trip. So I want to start a new shelf in the box because I'll keep these separate from the lures. And I made that request is because I fished the drop back bung, or I've started fishing the drop back bung, I should say. Didn't like them at the start, got more into them now, but I've found the fulling mill, the company who make them, they would like you to use their flies, their own flies, which I'll be honest, in my personal opinion, I am against, because their flies, I just don't like the patterns. It's very, very restricting. Their worms are a funny colour, and yeah, they're just not for me. So what I've done is I've worked out the weights of their flies, by online and asking forums and such, and I've managed to come up with a balancing effect of my own. So I'll have one of these on the large bung. You need 2 tungsten beads to make it stand up, so I use one of these, and because their tungsten beads are 3mm, I believe, these tungsten beads that I've got are 4mm, so that and that, the bung should sit up perfectly. In theory. I'll let you know if that works tomorrow, because this is the first time I'm trying it, so it might end up me eating my words tomorrow and saying, yeah, that didn't work at all, I have to go buy the fulling mill ones. I don't see how it's fair to charge, I think it was £54.55, something on those lines, or £54.95 for a box of flies. you only get about 10 flies in them. I will show you a picture in the video of the flies I'm talking about from the fulling mill, a close-up screenshot off their website, and it's, to me, you don't get value for money for the flies that you get. They're just not worth that much money. I've never spent that much money on flies in my life like that, not in one go. So yeah, for 10 flies in a box, it really isn't worth 54 quid. That's the other option of colour too. For RJW, you can have them in. I think he makes reds and greens as well. I'm fairly sure he can make them if you request them. I picked these two colours because, in my opinion, they're the most natural looking. Perhaps a brown one would work well as well. I haven't actually, I'll maybe quiz RJW on that later, but these are my favourites so far. Thank you very much as well for Tri-Flies for this box, because it's without all these sleeves, I'd be absolutely knackered at this point. Egg flies. Again, I've got plenty of these. I've got egg flies, blobs, mop flies, all that sort of good stuff. And again, these are very, very good attractors. So you can fish something like that, little yellow egg with a hot orange head. That above one of the worms, fantastic. It just draws the fish in, whether they want the egg fly or not. They see it and it draws them in. So in my opinion, it's always worth having some of these in your box. For the price of them, they're fantastic. And again, these ones are made by RJW. They've got like a lovely cushioned feel to them. Very, very good. Just make sure I've got them all. And I'm going to say the colour of that one is Sunburst, but I'm not 100% sure on it, but I'm 90% sure they're called Sunburst. I'll have to check his website for the exact description. But anyone's welcome. If you go on his website, he's got a drop down called bung flies. They're all under there. You'll find them, no problem. Now, I'm going to have a bit of variation in colour here. A little bit. We'll go lighter yellow. These are the same fly, bit smaller, but they've got a yellow head on them. I'll zoom in for you a little bit. They've got a yellow head on them. That's a much better angle, yeah. So, again, murky water, anywhere where visibility is a bit difficult, those are the flies you want to use. Now these, I'll be honest, he made me as a bit of a favour. These are the exact same fly as that, but they've got little orange eyes painted on the bead. And now, believe me, when I first got them, I thought, well, that won't make much difference, honestly, it won't. I tell you what, if you can tell by the state of that one, I didn't actually realise, the hook, that is the joy of catching tiger trout. So when that fly's life started, if I can find another one, I'll borrow that one. When that fly's life started, the hook was perfectly shaped like that. That one now is probably unfishable. I could bend it back a little bit, but that's tiger trout that do that. I've had some very big fish on these flies. While we're here, I'll do a repair job. I like to try and make flies last as long as possible, partly for the weight, partly for the planet. We like to look after the planet when we can. There we go. That's back to normal now. Repair job complete. And it's still lovely and sharp. That can go back in. Yeah, I don't like wastage. These flies take a long time to make, so we like to look after them. These little flies I've had for a long time. I got them off eBay. I'll be honest, have I tried them? Not as much as what I should, but I will have to start. And there again, same principle. Usually fished under a bung, and I like to fish them, in my personal opinion, in a method I've heard online described as the lighthouse method, when you've got a little fly underneath and a big light bulb on top of it, shining out, attracting the fish. I think next we'll go to orange. These are, I believe, if you remember the sweets called Frutella, these are RJW's Frutella eggs. Same principle. To be honest, the eggs are going to be the same fishing purpose. Under the bung, and I use them as an attractor. I believe I've only got one of them. And I will say, because I've only got one, I'm sure they're called Candy Floss. 99% sure they're called Candy Floss on his website. These ones are off eBay. Little pink attractor eggs. Again with the bigger bead. That's just a little Fritz egg with a gold bead. Again, very popular. Do very well on gill cruise with that on the right day. That's your standard egg fly. That's what, if you bought a generic egg fly off eBay or any website, that's what it would turn up as, like a little pom-pom ball. And again, exactly the same fishing method. Indicator, point fly, and use them as a dropper. You can use them as point flies as well, there's no reason why you can't. That's just my personal opinion. Then we've got our brown eggs. I'll be honest, truthfully told, not a very successful fly. The time you find them work, if you ever visit a fishery that hasn't long been stocked, and I mean stocked within a few weeks, because they do look like a trout pellet, unashamedly. I don't know if that's what they're designed to look like, but a brown egg fly, if they see that in the water and the fish has only been stocked about six to 8 weeks ago, they do go ballistic for them, because obviously that's what they are. That's what they look like. The fish are raised on that. That's no secret to the fly fishing world. These white eggs, between my general favourite colour is either white or cheese, which I'll show you in a moment. They are incredible. We have, these are the cheese coloured flies. Again, with the 4mm bead, tungsten, off RJW. These, I have to say, I'm going to have to say it, these are my favourite. My personal opinion, the best cheese eggs around. And I'm not saying that lightly, they genuinely are. I don't receive any money off RJW to say that, even though I should. These are 100% the best egg flies I've used for a long time, because I don't know if it's the way he ties them, but they last forever, and in the water they just look so good. It's incredible. So yeah, white egg with a red dot. A lot of anglers swear by these. Like they'll say they are the absolute goat of the egg fly world. I'll tell you now, personally, not my favourite. I have tried fishing them over and over again. I've had success, 2 or 3 fish, but nothing compared to the cheese. Nothing. And now we've got black. I'll be honest, I haven't had a chance to try these yet, so tomorrow could be an opportunity if the water's nice and coloured. Again, 2 colours most stand out in dark water, and it's black and white. If the water's really dirty, try a jet black fly or a bright white fly. That's the general rule of thumb with fly fishing. The green ones I haven't had a chance to have a go with, but I am going to try them tomorrow, I think. I'll make a point of trying them tomorrow. Tomorrow's session is going to be about me teaching my wife to fish, obviously. But on top of all this, it's going to be about, I want to teach you guys some pointers as well when I get to the water. So on this different subject, these things when the water's murky, again, these are a creation by RJW. They look like something out of a Halloween kids sweet box. I'm not entirely sure what they're supposed to be, but again, 4mm tungsten bead for my preferences for the way I fish the bung. RJW, I'll tell you now, if you have an issue with a fly, same as trout flies, if you ring them up and say, we need this tied a different way, they will do it for you. They're really, really good, especially trout flies and RJW, brilliant at doing things like that. RJW made me these on request. He's made me a few different colours, which I'm going to show you now. These things, excellent, lethal. Again, I had 2 fish out of that town on them last week. And I tend to think with these, or flies like this, the reason the fish go for them so much is because they haven't seen them before. So it's like a fresh thing in the water. And, I mean, you tell me, if they're swimming about in that lake, I'm going to have to ring the men in black, because that's not human, whatever that's supposed to be. That made this poor soul, a bit bedraggled, is what I caught I think I had 2 on it last week in the tarn. The eagle-eyed viewer would notice the bead size is much bigger on the new ones. The reason for that is I've requested that off RJW, as I say, for my bung. The type of bung I use. There's a cheese version with white legs, and he's very kindly painted the eyes for me. Now then, these things are the bane of my life. They are brilliant little flies. They are egg flies, but they're on a size 16 hook, if you can see that. Again, RJW's creation. I'm convinced he made them just to see how long my patience would last, because they are an absolute nightmare to hook on. I don't know if it's my fishing style, which is probably true, because I know he's had success with them, or if it's just the size of the hook. I can never get them to go in. They get taken all the time. Like, the fish go mental for them. And I've caught fish on buzzers this size. I've caught on smaller. I've caught on size 26s. I just cannot seem to get these egg flies. And I am going to do it. There's proof I've tried there, because there's still line attached to it. I've tried everything to get them to work. And for me, they just will not take the hook. But as we're up to that stage now, that's the egg fly side done, the worm inside done. And this side we're going to do a mix of, put it that way on for you. This is going to be sort of like Fritzy bung flies is what I'm going to call it, and other bung flies that I've got. So I haven't got as many of these, I'll be honest. I need to get some more, because they are a very popular fly. These again look like they're off something off Men in Black, and being completely honest, they are very successful. I've had a lot of fish on them. I'm pretty sure I've got a picture of a fish on my channel with one of those in its mouth. I think specifically it is that one, if memory serves me right. I'll include the picture in the video. So RJW creation again. Haven't got a clue what it is, but they are really, really productive for fish, so job's a good one. And I've got these in variety of colours. To fish these, you've actually got multiple options. I've had success retrieving them. What was it? There's the wrong colour. I've had success retrieving them. I've had success fishing them under the bung. I've had success static, everything. It depends on the day. If the water's if it's bright sunshine, not much moving on the top, I would let them sink and then slowly manoeuvre them back. If there's a bit of action about, take the bung off by all means and get into them. Now, these ones I got off eBay. These are off eBay. The reason I bought these is because I've never seen them before with that weird Fritz body, like just Fritz. It's a strange thing. Normally they've got a bit of fluff with them, so I thought, bit of Fritz. We're in the middle of summertime. Anybody struggling to catch fish this time of year, one of my biggest tips to you is use Fritzy flies. Fritz light that catches the sun, because the fish will see the glint, and if they're struggling to see anything else, if they see a glint, they'll go and investigate, and they might just take your fly when they get there. The fault with these is they do take up a lot of room in your box because these legs, these long legs, if you can see them here, they overlap into the next row. So, and I don't like, what happens is if you put them together, the rubbers tend to, as an older one, see as they get older, and the heat gets to them and they're sat in the back of the car, especially in this weather, these go sticky. They don't melt, but they go like tacky and they stick to each other. So then when you come to separate them, you pull them and it tears them, and yeah, you've got to be, I like a bit of space between them. These little, I don't know what they're supposed to be. I almost say a tadpole. To me, they look like a tadpole. I fish them like a tadpole. Slow figure of 8 retrieve and under the bung sometimes, but I prefer the retrieve with these. I tell you what, again, IJW creation. There was a time about 2 months ago, I was fishing Gilcrease, my favourite local venue. Wasn't catching very much. It was a very hard session. I think I had about 5 or 6, and normally you do much better there. So I was fishing away, and I could not work out what the fish were feeding on. I put one of those on, cast it out. I had a fish in the first cast, and I mean within 2 seconds. Then after that, I had another 6 or 7 fish. So it was they really did make the difference. These are the contention of the fishing world. I've seen people put floatant on them when they're struggling on the dry and retrieve them back. They're called blobs. This is a candy floss blob. I've seen people, when they've got a fab, when they've got a bit of foam sticking out the back of them for a washing line, you can fish them in many different ways. Static, on the bung, same very, very slow crawl retrieve. 99% of the time, I will say it'll be on the bung. And the most productive colour, I would say, is probably something like that, the sunburnt orange with a pearlescent tail. That is probably the most productive colour of blob. If you ask to see a fly fisherman's blobs, he will soon tell you that's the colour he'll have. These are mop flies. Again, these are fished under the indicator. You can retrieve them very, very slowly, I might add, probably on a sinking line. But to me, these are designed for the indicator. Bessie Beck, big tip, these bright yellow, absolutely fish destroy them. Orange is my favourite colour for Gilcrease. Again, these are made by IJWs, put my bigger beads on for me. These are for Gilcrease, and I'm also going to tie one of these on tomorrow as well, down at Greenhouse Tarn, when I've tested what the water is, when I can see the colour of it. I'm just assuming at this point what it's going to be like. I've checked the weather, the temperature's a bit down. I think it's about 19 degrees, which is better for the fish. Now, this fly, I may get in trouble for saying the name of. It is genuinely called the dog's bollocks. That is the name of this fly. Very, very popular bung fly. Normally they are, again I'll include a picture, normally they are black with a green head. They're black with a green head. I've got them in orange because I like an orange fly, I'll be honest. I do like orange. I think it's just a very natural colour to try on trout fisheries. It just seems to be, for me, it works better. And also, these aren't particularly the bung flies, but I'll be honest, I'm running out of room in my other boxes. So I got some perdigon, if I can say this word, it'll be amazing. Perdigon nymphs, I think I believe they're called. They are very, very small, with a little red collar and a tungsten head. Now, I use these at Gilcrease, again, not under the indicator. I would always suggest with nymphs to retrieve them. I always retrieve nymphs. It's very, very rare I fish them static. These nymphs, in particular, there was a time at Gilcrease, again, a few weeks ago when it wasn't fishing too great. Being my local, I can sort of tell what's going on. And the fish were feeding on something very, very small. But in the surface film, not on the top, but in the film, I used these. And honestly, fish after fish after fish, they were absolutely going mental for them. I went the other night and I could not I didn't have any of these left. And I was kicking myself because I thought, I knew I should have ordered some more. Same reason I get snapped off and tiger trout have teeth and this, that and t'other. So I was like, yeah, I really need to sort myself out and get some more. Trout flies, luckily, are the place I got them from. and they had them on stock, which was brilliant. We've got one solitary little buzzer there. I'm going to put him in the box, living on his own. The peregrine nymphs, the important part with them, cast them out. Normally have them as a point fly with a dial back or something ahead of it with no weight on. Let the peregrine control the depth. I normally do a figure of 8 retrieve very, very slowly, let it just trawl back. Come back at maybe an inch a second, like you literally are just really, really trawling it back slowly. Nice and gentle. And you'll find the fish take them brilliantly. The buzzers, now you can retrieve these. Very, very well known fly right across the fly fishing community. There's loads of different sizes, colours, types, everything. You can, 9 times out of 10, and I think most of everybody does, you bung fish with a buzzer. I'll probably get shot for saying that, but everybody I've saw who's using buzzers as an indicator on because the bites are so gentle. When it comes to fishing them, I do retrieve them with an indicator. Again, figure of 8, really, really slowly. You want no quick movements with any fly that size. And that's just the same. Another buzzer, just with a gold bead, a bit of a different style. And I think finally, that is those ones completed. So the only thing left to add in here, this is another trout flies compilation, and these things are actually genius. So these little worms, I think I got these about a month ago, and I never had them in my box. A set of these, I should say. I never had them in my box because I just didn't like the look of them. When they came, they looked better on the webpage, I thought, at the time, from trout flies, and I thought, it's okay, I'll try them. I got them on an offer. I think there was 12 of them, because it was different colours. 12, I'll try and find the box and show you a picture. There was 12 of them for, I think it was £6 or £7, so it was a good deal. Now, what I did find with these, where they've come into their own, is when I started using the drop back bungs, because again, tungsten head, I found one of those chamois worms with one of these and one of those egg flies was absolutely perfect weight. When I was at fishing last week, it was perfect. So they did save my weekend a little bit last week when I realised that. So I do like these rubber worms. Again, you can fish them on a retrieve, let it sink down slow, pull it back, or if you really wanted to, and my personal recommendation, again, I'm going to get in trouble for it, under a bung. Let them sink down. I actually found the trout in there were grabbing at those in that fishery before they had chance to really level the bung out. The drop back bung, when it gets a little nibble, instead of going on the water like that and sitting straight, it jumps out and lands flat. That happened nearly straight away 2 or 3 times. There's actually a little clip of me catching a fish. I think I'm stood on the left-hand side of the lake in the sun, and I just strike out of nowhere, and all I saw was that bung come out the water and land sideways, and that's how I caught that fish. On a regular bung, you wouldn't get that level of sensitivity, so yeah, they do work. They're finicky. They are finicky to set up, but they do work. So what we're going to do now is everybody's favourite fly in the UK, I think, at some point or another. I'll be honest, I've found the trout have gone off them now a bit, unless it's just me, the apse worm. These beaded apse worms, brilliant flies, fish really, really well. They, again, you can have them under an indicator. Personally, I like to retrieve these. Couple of little short bounces and maybe 2 or 3 inches. Short bounce, 2 or 3 inches. Get the legs really splaying away, and they do produce fish. These are called cormorants. I'm 90% sure these were off RJWs, but I think they were off RJW. Memory serves me right. Very, very popular fly in Scotland, I believe. Used as a mini lure, not under the bung with them, you'd 100% retrieve them. Nice and steady retrieve, nothing too jerky. Another tip with lure fishing, try different retrieves. If you've had a fly on for 5 minutes and you've had no pulls, speed it up. Another 5 minutes, no pulls, slow it right down. Try the different retrieves, because then you're covering different depths for a start, but you're also allowing it to be in the water a bit longer. So it's a way for you to detect where the fish are, if that makes sense. As we can see, I've managed to save one side of my fly box in one of them, which is great. I managed to neaten up one of my dry fly boxes. We're in with a few extras. The good old nymph box. This proved excellent while we were down at last time. You'll notice a few of my dowelbacks are missing on here. That was gill cruise the other night. They got absolutely wrecked by rainbow trout. I think I had 4 or 5 trout on them and they just got absolutely pulled to bits. I do find that with the softly made dowelbacks, they don't really last, or those ones don't seem to last. Thank you very, very much for watching. I hope I've been informative. It's just to make it go through one more time with you. Lures like these, you want to be retrieving, slow, fast, changes on the water, changes by the colour of the water, the wind speed, direction. You'll be surprised. But just try different speeds and you will work out what they're feeding on with them. Your worms, it's very slow retrieve if you are going to retrieve them. 9 times out of 10, you're just under the bung, letting it sit. These eggs, 100% under the bung, I would say. I wouldn't try and retrieve an egg. You can, but I can't see personally you having much success with it. These, like Fritz worms, excellent. Under the bung, retrieve because of the legs on them. Fantastic. Would recommend you try both and you'll find your own happy medium. Rubber worms, can retrieve them. Would I retrieve them? I've caught on them both ways, but I prefer them stationary, I think, especially with the big tungsten head, just keeping my bung nice and flat. The dog's bollocks there, sat in the middle, little dog's bollocks. Oh, that sounded worse than what I meant. Little dog's bollocks, excellent fly. Again, I've always fished them static under the bung. You can do a figure of 8 retrieve, but personally I like to just leave them static in the flow once you've found the depth the fish are feeding on. Your blobs, I've seen people do all sorts with them to fish them. Retrieved, static, on the bottom, bung, everything. Personal preference, use them as an attractor, big, bright and shiny, on the bung, worm underneath it, you'll be away, especially that orange colour. I can't stress that enough. These little perdigrans, 100% retrieve, never fish them static, I've never tried it. You probably could, but for me, retrieving figure of 8 as a point fly, with a dowelback as a dropper, you will find something with those. Again, you want the water to be, doesn't have to be crystal clear, but it doesn't want to be too dark and murky either because they're small. And again, your buzzers, same crack as them really. You want nice, clear water, very, very slow retrieve, if any retrieve, if not, under the bung. But no, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed the video and I hope you found it informative. If you've got any questions at all, honestly, about flies, selecting a fly, colour of water, time of year, anything about fly fishing that you're really stuck on, please do not hesitate to contact me, be it a Facebook message, a YouTube message, comment, whatever you feel, and I will honestly try my very best to get back to everybody. I've had quite a lot of questions this week. Thank you very, very much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Tight lines.